hit record just to do that. That's right.
We'll hit re-record. All right, Chuckleheads, here we are with another episode of Stand Up Snobs. This week we got the infamous Anthony Jeselnik with his 5th Netflix special, Bones and All. Bones and All. Let's give you a quick taste of it, and then we can talk about it, all right?
One of my friends just asked me if I would be the sperm donor for her baby. I said, I don't know. That's a pretty big decision. How old's your baby?
That was Anthony Jeselnik. The entire trailer of his 5th album, 5th Netflix special, I should say, Bones and All. I am Jay Berg. I'm here with my co-host,
Colton Drake.
and you're listening to Stand Up Snobs, the best damn comedy podcast ever in history.
In the land.
In all of the land. Yeah, we just got done watching it for the second time. If you don't know who Anthony Jeselnik is, he's probably best known as a roast comic for the Comedy Central roasts. He was on 3 different of the Comedy Central roasts. He was on the Charlie Sheen roast, the Roseanne roast, and the Donald Trump roast. He also wrote for some of those
Jimmy
roasts
Fallon.
as well.
Didn't he write for Jimmy Fallon as well?
Yep. He also wrote for the Jimmy Fallon show. He had a 3-point deal with Comedy Central where he got an hour-long special, 3 of those 3 roast shows, and then a development deal, which included 2 seasons of a show called The Jeselnik Offensive. You ever watch that?
I've seen just clips of it.
I don't think I ever saw it. But sketch show a la Dave Chappelle. He was right in that wheelhouse when they were trying to give every new comic a development deal for a new show to sort of replace Dave Chappelle. Obviously, none of them worked out quite as well as Chappelle's show did. But yeah, that is Anthony Jeselnik. He's pretty well known as sort of a dark, sarcastic, arrogant.
He's the Dark King, you could say.
He is maybe the Dark King. It's possible he's the Dark King. If you remember, we just did Adrienne Appalucci a couple weeks ago. Her special was entitled The Dark Queen. His is not entitled The Dark Queen.
No, Bones and All.
Bones and All, yeah. There's not really any reference to that in the
No, it wasn't.
in the special, which is fine. I mean, whatever. Sometimes people do that. Sometimes they don't. You know.
Yeah. I wonder what that was inspired by, though.
Bones and All. I don't know. I think it's just like another, sort of, like nod to the dark sense of humor. I'm guessing. I don't know for sure. That would make sense though.
He does have a little bit of a different vibe than Adrienne Appalucci in the sense that a lot of his jokes are more one-liners.
Oh yeah, they're very different. I would say they're very different for both being dark. I mean, his are less issue, more dark. Her jokes were more like she would tackle a specific issue that was a little bit more nuanced, maybe a little bit more highbrow. He's really just doing one-liners about gross shit, essentially, or disturbing shit, I guess is the best way to say it.
And a lot of it is like he kind of uses a similar magic trick every time, where it's just like set up, and in that setup, he's gonna have a turn on the end of that's gonna be shocking or gross or whatever.
Yeah, it's pretty classic. Classic.
Jeselnik, really.
Pretty classic one-line comedy, really.
Yeah.
I mean, it's. If you don't know where the joke is going, you haven't been paying attention to his style, because it's usually pretty easy to tell what he's going to do. At some point, he's probably going to make a joke about himself being a pedophile or whatever,
Well, and a lot of
disgusting or something.
I think a lot of what the beauty of those kind of jokes is it is kind of all in the setup, right?
Sure.
Like you have to set those up, and the setups usually just have like a nugget of where the punchline is going. Right.
Yeah.
So it's cool to watch. It is just a lot of that.
Yeah, it's the same. Yeah, it's the same shit. Overall, I mean, that's what it is. It's Jeselnik style comedy. That's how he's been doing. That's how he's all of the comedy I've ever seen from him, including his roast. That's why his roast stuff actually works, is because they're jokey jokes. They're quick hitters.
Yeah,
it's the kind of joke you want for a roast. But yeah, now 5 specials in, it's pretty much the same shit. I mean, it's different plays on the same thing, but
right. And it's very interesting too if you're not familiar with Jeselnik. His persona is unlike any other comics, I would say. because it's very arrogant, very much like I am the shit, I'm the man. He doesn't self-deprecate on himself really like other comics do. Even there's a small portion in this where he does a little bit, but it's not even self-deprecating. It's more like my career has been so great doing a stand-up comic that I haven't had roommates for 15 years or whatever, essentially. Like, that's what he's saying. But that's like the most deprecation it goes.
Yeah, his persona is not a everyman. It's a I'm better than you.
Yes.
I'm better than you. I'm a genius. All
It's
that
a lot
kind
of God
shit.
complex kind of.
Yeah, a lot of that. Mm-hmm.
But
Agreed.
then that's what makes it interesting with his jokes working the way they do, because he doesn't silly him up really. You know what I mean? He doesn't throw on a big smile after he says something.
Oh no,
crazy.
not at all. He would destroy his jokes if he tried to do that. That's one of the things I think is really important to that joke style. These are not the type of jokes you get away with by not nailing your delivery. Like, you have to nail the delivery, you have to nail the persona. It's not enough just to have a good one-liner or a good joke. You have to have that arrogant demeanor that lets people know that you don't give a fuck, what people think of the horrible shit that you're talking about. It's really important in this style, I think, to keep your straight face. He breaks it all, and it ruins probably the next 15 minutes. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, he really has to just sell the joke, and selling the joke is selling that he is that type of person who would just tell that joke and not have any problem with it. Sort of like a psychopathic or like sociopathic type demeanor.
There's very much like an interesting timing to all of his jokes too, that you can tell, like if you're watching open micers, you could tell somebody that's listening to a lot of Jeselnik because they'll do that same. There's just like a pacing to it that they will like hit exactly, and
It's
he's
very
the only
matter of
one that
fact.
can kind of do it. That's like very much his style.
Yeah, it's very similar to Stephen Wright, I would say, except that it's obviously a lot darker. But yeah, it's your point's well taken there. That it really is sort of the exact way he has to do it in order to pull that material off. I don't know how else you pull that material off.
Well, it's just his style too, I think.
Yeah.
Which is,
Yep.
It's cool though. He's found his own voice. Like, obviously, he's been doing it for probably over 20 years.
Yeah, he's been doing it for a long time. If you like his style, you're going to like this special. I mean, if you normally like his specials, you're going to like this special. If you normally don't like his specials, you're not going to like the special. He doesn't do anything particularly well or different than he does in any other specials that he's done. It's kind of just the same shit. It's similar to what we talked about last week with Jim Gaffigan, and that like he has a brand, he's playing to his brand and his audience, and he's not straying from it very much at all. And if that's what he finds funny, like, more power to him. I always think that's an interesting. I always wonder if I would ever get to the point in my comedy career, where something that I do gets popular, and so then I feel obligated to have to be that and have to do that, whether or not that's something I would enjoy, and would I embrace that? Would I be happy to have a get her done? You know what I mean? Like, have a tagline or have like a shtick, and just be grateful for all the good things that happened because of it, or would I resent it? And I think it's really hard to tell until you're in that
I think it depends
situation.
on what that thing is at the same time.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
You wouldn't want it
Sure.
to be some hacky thing that you had to do every time. But if it was kind of like a cool niche, like your thing, you like doing it, that'd be a different game.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think there are different. Sure, it would depend on what it is, but also it may not too. Like, I would think it would, but it may not. It may just be a matter of like, this fucking bought my house, so I'm not really that worried about it. I'm having a good time doing it.
Do you think? I got a question for you.
Okay.
Do you think that if you were to, let's say, open for Jeselnik every night or something, do you think you could see that, like his timing and style rubbing off on you? Because I definitely feel like I would like start to kind of adapt that. There's some people I can't listen to too much because I'll start to just like almost like tone mimic in a way. I don't want to do that, but it just kind of happens. Do you think that would happen with you?
I don't know. I mean, I think it all depends. What really depends on is if I really like if I like the comic, they're gonna rub off on you, right? Like if you don't really like the comic, then they probably won't as much. If you're opening for them or if you're featuring for them or whatever, but it's just hard to say. And then, like some people's stuff's just not compatible. You know what I mean? Like I may like Harry J. Riley. In fact, I do, but his style and mine is so much different. It wouldn't. I don't think that I'd start pulling things from what he does and making it my own style just because it's too far away. If you had closer styles, I could see it rubbing off on you a little bit. Like if I toured with Bill Burr, I could see mimicking him a lot more because I'm already an angry, yelly old guy. So
yeah. Well, and I think I'm talking more kind of just in like tone pitches, right? And like like we're just talking about Anthony Jeselnik, how his tone is with this when he's telling a joke. That and even like there's been like open micers I've noticed they'll do a thing with their tone for every joke. And if I listen to that and listen to that and listen to that, that's just I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna start telling jokes like that. And it's like that's not what I do. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean I think pace, tone, all those things are definitely gonna rub off on you if you don't. Well, if you pay attention or if you don't pay attention, one or the other. I mean, I think it's pretty natural to take some things from people who are your surrounding, who you surround yourself with. So yeah, I'd be surprised if you didn't learn something, especially from a headliner who took you on. If a headliner takes you on the road, right? Like,
right.
It's already there's gonna be some affinity for that situation. So it would make sense that you would, pick some stuff up from them. Yeah, I don't know. I think that, I don't know. I would probably pick some things up, but who knows,
Yeah, that's what
But I don't know.
That's what I would be worried about, honestly.
I don't know if I would be.
Because it wouldn't be the good things I'd be picking up. It would just be like, oh no, now like my tone is just starting to sound like them. Like that's not what I'm going for.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe, or maybe it would be the good things. I mean, I don't know that you really know until if you get into it and then you start seeing what you're actually picking up.
Yeah.
I wouldn't just assume you're only going to pick up bad habits. That'd be.
Oh no, weird. I'm not trying to say that. I think what I'm saying too is, if my brain is aware that they do a certain thing with their tone, if I'm not aware of it, I'm good. If my brain is aware of it and then I hear that sequence of tones, then I'm like, oh, I'll easily fall into trying or like doing that on accident.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I don't know. I think. Yeah, I mean, kind of getting back to what kind of his deal and what he does. I wonder if he I mean, you can become a sort of a character of your own self, right?
Right.
I wonder if he sees it as a necessary evil to perform the way he's performing, and to kind of keep that same style, similar to what we talked about with Gaffigan, or. If that's what he likes, that's what he prefers, and so he doesn't have a problem with it at all. I could see that being the case. Or I could see it being like, well, no, I need to protect my brand or protect my brand or my image or my ticket sales.
Yeah.
I mean, if Anthony Jeselnik comes out and he starts doing clean comedy where he's doing long stories or some shit completely different than what he normally does, maybe it still works. Maybe it works even better. You just don't know. But
I would be interested to
odds
kind of see
are
that, though.
probably not, though. Like it's pretty hard to like. I mean, I think that's why people are so devoted to their acts and to like specific things. Is like,
well,
it takes a long time to make it. And I mean, and there's no guarantee you're ever going to make it, right? So if you actually found something that works, going against that and like trying to do a different thing. That's really risky, man, for somebody who's already kind of – it's like you've already won the lotto, and then you're like, man, I got to try again with a different ticket. Like, maybe you should just keep doing the same thing. But I think good comics will do it because they just think they're good comics, right? And they're just like, yeah, it'll work out,
Right. And there's a thrill to that, too, of like a risking.
And reinventing yourself and being a quote-unquote true artist, that kind of thing.
Right, yeah. However you define that.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, Taylor Swift could have kept making country albums after she was 14 for the next 30 years, and she would have been fine.
Yeah.
But she took a risk, obviously, and I would say it paid off so far.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'd say she did. She's doing all right for herself.
She's doing okay. Yeah.
Doing okay for herself. But yeah, you're talking about Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah, Kendrick Lamar's Good Kid, Mad City was phenomenal. Like, it was great all the way through. And then his next album, To Pimp a Butterfly, was like him rapping over like jazz kind of beats. It was just like a totally different lane.
It was very divisive, right? Like I would imagine.
People claim that that's one of his best albums. Is To Pimp a Butterfly.
When you say people claim that, some people or all people? This is what I'm asking
the
you
majority, but not me.
Okay.
Yeah. Or like, for instance, Childish Gambino, he dropped an album and it was all rap, his first album, and then his second album was like sing-songy, like really singy, and people were like, "Yo, dude, I thought you were a rapper." It was just an odd twist, but then still he made it work. Like, that's great, I think. If you're an artist and you can do that, it's fucking good for you.
Yeah, but you may, I guess the issue, you may alienate your fan base though if you're doing shit that they don't like.
Right.
If you try something new, that's not always going to work out in your favor. I mean, it's a risk, I should say. It's a risk.
And that's why you see a lot of artists that just have cookie cutter albums. You know.
Right.
Not
like
to
they
say
just
that,
keep doing the same thing they've done.
Yeah.
Because it works.
Yep.
Which makes a lot of sense. I mean, yeah, and that's what Jeselnik's done here. He's definitely not doing anything. I mean, you could drop this album in place of any of his other albums that I've seen anyway, and I haven't seen all of them, but I've seen most of them. And I would not be surprised. It's just very...
I feel like he pushed boundaries a little bit more, maybe.
He's going to do pedophilia jokes. He's going to do, those sort of dark one-liners. And, he's going to be the asshole in most of them. And that's sort of just his thing.
Yeah, that's what he wants to be.
Yeah, and I wonder in an honest moment if that's what he wants to be, or if he's afraid of doing anything else, or if some other completely different thing. Who knows? My guess is he probably that's the type of comedy he prefers, and so he just does it that way.
Well, and the other thing is too he's a good looking guy, right? He's got to be like above 6 foot, looks clean,
And like, is there a point to that, or you just want to suck his wiener?
No, I'm just saying, like, he's a good looking guy, and then he's also doing this like dark shit, and still has this whole ego thing about what other situation is that going to work? We've watched bodybuilders go up on stage and then just tank, man, because they could have really good material. I mean, I don't know. Maybe my points are getting lost.
Oh, you're talking about actually going up on comedy, man. You're confusing me. Is what's happening.
I'm sorry.
All right, so I think I get what you're saying. I think I understand. So what you're saying is, what it sounds like you're saying anyway is like, so he's a good-looking dude, so he can get away with being an asshole.
No, I'm saying it's harder to get away with that.
Oh, I disagree.
Oh, really?
Way easier. Absolutely.
Really? Well, it just makes you so unlikable. I've watched people go
being
up.
Being an asshole is unlikable, but being an asshole who also is like not, who is unattractive and also being arrogant is worse. Way worse. Think about it. If you see like a really ugly girl go up there and talk about how hot she is, it's not likable
I love
at
that.
all. No, you don't.
Well,
no
I do,
one likes
because
that.
I can just in my head, it's like,
Go ahead.
You can just destroy him. You know what I mean?
No, I don't. But destroy him.
Like, God damn it. Like mentally, you can look at it as like they are. I can feel this type of way about it. This is not coming out good. I'm sorry. Shit. God damn it.
You're dumping this whole thing.
Yeah. What I was trying to say is I think it's harder for Anthony. I would think that it would be harder to get away with that material because being good looking can also make you more unlikable, right? You're right. If you're ugly, you can sometimes be more likable with that, and then you can get away with like more assholey shit because you're likable but ugly, and people are more fond to like you if you're ugly as a comic. What you say?
But not when you're being arrogant. Nobody wants the unearned arrogance. It's way worse to be ugly and arrogant than it is to be good looking and arrogant.
Yeah, but it's way funnier to be ugly and arrogant.
How so?
What do you mean, how so?
I mean, how so?
The contradiction between those two things are funny. Because you shouldn't be arrogant if you're ugly.
I don't know. I've never liked it. Whenever anybody does it, I never liked it.
Who
but
does
I get what you're...
Who has done it?
I mean, our friend of the program, Blade Frank, that's like his thing. His thing. It's one of the things he's done before that I think people generally like. That is not my favorite thing. Where he sets a tone like he is better than you, but the idea is supposed to be
But he's not.
I'm not better than you, but I think I'm better than you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
so I think that's
he's in
funny.
on the joke that he shouldn't be as arrogant he is, but he is. I just don't. That's not my favorite way of doing it, personally.
What I'm saying though is I think
Blade,
it's easier
though.
to
Good
get
funny
away.
guy. Funny dude.
I think it's easier to get away with that in a sense because the whole audience kind of is latched on to we understand that this is not necessarily true. Right? They get the
Maybe.
satirical aspect of it.
Maybe.
And when it comes to somebody that's good looking, saying mean shit and is egotistical, it's like those are all three things wrapped into one. It's like this is
I feel like we expect it out of their character. It's like
right. Well, we especially expect it out of Anthony now because he's so developed and polished and it's been around forever. But like back in the day, I imagine coming out with that style would be very interesting to digest as an audience member if you weren't.
maybe.
prepared.
I think we expect. I think when you play the arrogant, it's like Daniel Tosh style, right? Very similar in that like they're these like affluent. They look like they're affluent, upper middle class white guys, right? Who are decent looking dudes who you kind of expect to be date rapists. You know what I mean? Like just horrible people. Like they look like they're horrible people. Their personas are like they're horrible people, right? Their acts are like they're horrible people, and we let you get away with being what you look like, right?
Well, and I wonder too how much of that. I mean, obviously depends on how funny you are.
Oh, of course,
Right?
of course.
Like it has to be funnier than it is
yeah.
dark or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Sorry to take us on that tangent.
No.
I just thought
It's
it was, I thought
it's
it was
an interesting tangent. Yeah. Who knows? But I don't. It's like if you see like a really like Nikki Glazer, for example, right?
Yeah.
If Nikki Glazer was ugly and talking about what a whore she is all the time, we would hate it. Like people would hate it. And that says a lot more about not only, I mean, that just says a lot more about society than anything else, right? Like when Amy Schumer gets ugly,
if you were gonna
like,
name drop her. Yeah.
well, I mean, not gets ugly. Like she's less attractive now than she used to get away with a lot more. And you know, she was always had a little junk in the trunk or whatever. But like,
Yeah. In the cheeks.
she was still pretty, like fairly attractive. And I mean, I'm not saying she's ugly now. I'm saying that she's not as attractive now as she was, right?
Yeah. That's yep.
But we let her get away with all of the horrific shit she'd say because she's like more attractive.
Yeah.
And now that she's less attractive, she's still doing the same shit, but people do not give her.
She's actually very unliked now.
Yeah, exactly. People do not
People
give her
hate
the
her. Yeah.
exactly.
And I get it.
Whereas like Sarah Silverman, we'll let her talk shit all day long. You know what I mean? Like, or
she's hot.
Or Nikki Glazer, yeah. Or I mean, it's completely unfair. It's 100% true though, right?
Well, and also it seems like Sarah Silverman too would be just such a better hang than Amy Schumer. I feel like there's something to that too, where like Amy Schumer just doesn't sound like a good time to hang out with. But I could totally be wrong.
Are we going into the the Colton hangs out with celebrities and never met portion of the podcast again? Nerd. No, I mean I see what you're saying, and I think the persona for sure, like the Sarah Silverman persona is more of like a likable sort of dullard, not really dumb, but like not concerned with being smart.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right. More fun. The energy's more fun, less
whereas
serious.
whereas you know, like Amy Schumer's whole thing is just sort of like, hey, I'm a slut, like whatever.
Yeah.
Which is, you know,
And then she does kind of still also have that I'm better than you kind of tone.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in general, if you're going to be a girl and do that kind of comedy, you're not going to have we don't let you get away with it nearly as long as if you're a guy, dude. It's just the truth. It is not a fair world, but that's the world we live in.
Big facts.
Absolutely, man. Just like I can't say the N-word. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude. It's such bullshit.
I mean, I really should be able to, right? All right. So we got to, let's talk about, we're 25 minutes in. Why not? Let's talk about,
Okay.
That's kind of the overall take. You got anything on the style front?
Ooh.
The Fashionista segment. What do you got?
Fashionista. All right.
What did you think of what it looked like? It was filmed, by the way, this filmed in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Which interesting place to film, I thought.
I think Milwaukee's pretty well known as a decent comedy town. Like Midwest towns are good. Like Minnesota's or Minneapolis is big. I do think Milwaukee's had its fair share of decent comics.
I actually didn't know that.
Yeah.
I think he mentioned that in the special too, but I didn't know that.
Yeah, but I never know if he's serious or not on that whole thing, right?
Well, when I hear Milwaukee, I'm thinking
Jeffrey
like,
Dahmer.
Tools.
Oh.
Right.
I figured it was Jeffrey Dahmer. You're thinking about Jeffrey Dahmer?
Like DeWalt, Milwaukee.
Oh.
I'm thinking Tools.
When you say tools, you mean literal tools.
Makita. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Makita. That's excellent. Yeah, so it was in Milwaukee. I mean, nice looking theater.
It looked really
nice.
dark in there. Did you notice that?
No.
I thought it looked like in the audiences, like where they were sitting, they looked super dark.
It didn't look like they gave him any. Did they get any audience shots? I don't think they did one single audience shot. And what I mean by that, like, I don't think they had the camera on the audience at all.
Yeah, they don't kill one audience member.
Interesting.
Shoot him in the head.
But yeah, so what do you think about the overall look, what it wore, the visual, all that shit?
I thought the
that fun
visual,
stuff
I thought the
talked
curtains and the lights all looked good. I did think it was interesting how dark it was on the audience, and that does make sense since if they're not going to have a camera aimed at them, that it could be darker. So I thought that all looked really good. I thought it was interesting that he was wearing cowboy boots. I didn't know if that's something that
he was wearing cowboy boots. I didn't notice that.
Yeah, and he looked like he tucked them into his jeans. Which douche move.
Okay.
Okay. I also the plain white shirt. He had his shirt tucked in, which like that is just a confidence flex. You know what I mean? I am never tucking my shirt in. I just don't have. I don't have the I don't have the confidence for that shit. No, if you're tucking your shirt in, like, I hate you. You better be 80 fucking years old tucking your shirt in.
I noticed he's a big jacket guy. I've noticed.
I noticed he had a jacket on.
No, most of his specials, he has a jacket on.
Is that the new thing? Because also Josh Wolf had a jacket on too.
I don't know, man. I don't know if it's a new thing or an old thing or whatever, but I think that I feel like Anthony Jeselnik usually has like some sort of jacket on over the
jacket looked nice
over top of some sort of t-shirt thing.
Yeah, I thought the jacket looked nice. I was more tripped out by the boots and the tucked in shirt.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you were not impressed with his fashion sense?
No. Hated it.
Okay.
I mean, he looked fine, but I mean, I would never wear that.
Yeah.
No.
Hated it. No, it was fine. Yeah, whatever.
I would never do it though. I'd never wear that shit. Never tuck in my shirt. Am I going to church?
Wait, would you tuck in your shirt? I don't think we've covered this yet. Would you tuck in your shirt?
I would never.
You would not. Okay.
I would never tuck in my shirt.
I feel like we were
also not
dancing
tucking
around
my
and we
boots
never
in
said
either. Not tucking my boots in. Or my jeans into my boots. I don't know, dude.
What, his jeans were tucked into his boots, or his boots were underneath?
His boots were his boots were tucked into his jeans. His boots were tucked into his jeans.
And which one of those is weirder?
That one's the weirder one.
That's the weirder one?
I think so. I don't know.
I have no
don't wear
idea,
cowboy boots. That's not really my... You know what? Why don't you guys message us and tell us which one is weirder?
Yeah, go ahead and direct those
what's the email?
To Colton Drake.
Go ahead and
I don't want
what's
that shit filling up our good inbox.
Our good
our inbox, which is totally full.
Inbox. Yeah.
Our inbox. If you do want to anything you want to talk about the show, who you'd like us to have on, anything you want to mention on a special that we missed, go ahead and shoot that email. It's standupsnobs@gmail.com. That's standupsnobs@gmail.com. Yeah, you can go ahead and just send us anything you want, man.
Tell us if you don't like something too.
If you have any questions about anything, if you have any statements, do you want to tell Colton that he should be tucking his jeans into his shoes?
If you want to defend yourself for tucking in your shirt, shoot us a message.
Absolutely. For all the Milwaukeeans out there. I don't know. I mean, it looked pretty. He looked like a 90s, like a 90s high schooler to me. Like it was weird. Like it was like I almost expect him to have like stonewashed jeans, dude. It was
And like a leather jacket.
It looked weird. It didn't look natural for him. Like from what I've seen from him before, it was almost like shout out Rob Devins. It's almost like how Rob Devins changes his look every 3 hours. Like
I think
like, hey,
he looks like how
I'm wearing a cowboy hat today.
Rob Devins wished he looked. Love you, Rob.
One of our local comic we have. It feels like he's wearing a trucker hat one week. Then the next week he's got like a bolo tie, and
the next week he's head to toe denim with a cowboy hat on.
Denim. Yeah, it's weird, man.
What are we doing?
I'm not sure. It's like he's just trying to figure it out, and good on him. Give it a shot. Figure out what you need to wear. But
switch your swag 4 times a week. It's cool.
I mean,
there's
only so many different ways you can wear sweatpants, so I'm pretty easy. I know
cargo. You mean cargo pants?
No, I said sweatpants. I meant what I said.
Yeah, but you wear cargos.
Yeah, cool. Way to bring it down.
Fill them with rocks or.
Good point. It's really that piece of accurate information is super important to the story.
It is. It's funny. I mean, I would say about myself too, but I can't. I wear sweatpants on stage more than you do.
You do. It's true. I wouldn't even call them sweatpants. Sweatsuits of some sort.
Yeah.
All right. So I don't really have much to add on the fashionista part. I thought it looked fine, but I wasn't like impressed or anything. You know what I mean? Like his facial hair was a little odd, I thought. He had like sort of like it was like he was trying to grow like a handlebar mustache, but like he didn't really want to go full handlebar.
Yeah. You got to be so confident for that. That's the next level. The next special.
Is it?
I don't know.
What a weird.
Okay.
You're so into weird shit, man.
No, I'm just talking shit. What do you think about, who do you think out of the specials we've gone over, whose style did you like the best? Which one do you think was your favorite one?
It's probably the worst person in the world to ask.
Well, you can have an opinion.
Yeah, I don't care. I don't really pay attention. I don't really care. Definitely not Jim Gaffigan's fucking parachute pants.
Yep, that's fantastic.
And shirt, whatever the hell he was doing.
Uh-huh.
We've done 4, I guess, technically this run, except for our lost episodes. I would say that neither Josh Wolf nor Adrian Appalucci really. I didn't notice anything crazy about them, so I'd probably say both of them were just fine for me. Like it was. Neither one of them were weird, and they were both subdued to some degree. Josh Wolf wore that weird jacket thing or whatever. I mean, Adrian Appalucci looked just like a normal person doing stand-up, so probably her. I would say she probably had the best.
I would say Josh. I'd say Josh Wolf probably is my favorite. I think his coat looked cool. He just looked clean, looked good.
Yeah, okay.
Didn't tuck his shirt in like a freaking idiot.
Wait, do you not like it when people tuck their shirt in? I don't know if you mentioned this yet.
I hate it.
Okay. Just want to make sure we don't leave that stone unturned.
That's great, dude. We can cover it 4 more times. I'm happy with it. Let you know.
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, I didn't. The only person I thought looked really bad was Gaffigan last week. Was terrible, but
He looked horrible.
we don't need to go over that again.
We don't. Yeah, we spent too long on
You
that.
said enough terrible shit.
It's all right.
About him. All right, so let's talk about what did you like? What are some things you liked? What are the jokes you liked? Is there anything specific that you wanted to get into here?
Yeah. What I liked is he did do that bit that was a tribute to Norm Macdonald that I thought was cool. About him meeting Norm Macdonald and them not getting along, and then Norm kind of setting him up when they were trying to promote a show. I guess Norm told him hey, to promote this show, let's just go out there and we'll just you say mean shit about me, and I'll say mean shit about you, and so.
It'd be fun.
It'd be fun. Anthony did that, and then after Anthony, Norm Macdonald went up and they asked him how he feels about Anthony Jeselnik, and he's like, he's one of the greats. So he kind of got played.
He totally played him. That is really funny,
and that's totally a Norm Macdonald thing to do.
It seems very on brand for Norm Macdonald for sure. Yeah, that is fun. It was a funny story.
So I did really like that because I thought that was a cool kind of homage to Norm.
Yeah, it was cool. I like that. I like that.
I thought it was interesting too how he ran an old bit that was on his first special. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, and he mentions that he was on his first. He mentions the first
joke he ever wrote. Right. I don't know. I thought that was kind of fascinating to kind of double up on a joke, even though he does kind of frame it obviously he frames it differently and puts
Sure.
it in a different capsule.
Yeah.
I thought that was
Yeah, that was interesting, and it's a decent joke. It's not world bending enough that you'd want to necessarily have it on multiple specials. But I mean, shit, whatever.
it's a fun joke.
He's running
It's just
that.
interesting to do that.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
My guess is maybe the first special isn't on Netflix or something, and maybe he wanted to put that joke on Netflix. I don't know. I haven't listened to
Could
all
be.
of his Netflix specials.
Nor have I, sir. Nor have I. Yeah, I like that. That was all right. Let's see. I like he does a couple things that I think are fun. He'll do like little non sequiturs in between jokes that I really like. That are pretty clever. He does one in this particular one where he says, if there's one thing I like about Milwaukee, and there is one thing I like about Milwaukee, I always thought that was a funny one. And then, or he'll just do weird stuff that it seems like they're out of place at a comedy show, but he pulls off. Like at one point, after a long bit about how much he hates kids, he just says, "If you came in late, I don't like kids."
Yeah.
And like it's just weird. It's just an odd delivery, an odd weird thing to say, but like it's the type of thing I really like. It breaks up the monotony of sort of how he does his jokes. And it really, I think it's a real heavy persona play. Like, cause his whole thing is like, he does things the way he thinks they should be done. He's arrogant about it. And so even if it wouldn't traditionally make sense comedically, he's just going to do it that way.
Right.
Cause he plays by nobody's rules but his own.
Yeah. Wow. So cool. I thought it was also interesting how there was no intro or outro, really.
Yeah.
It was kind of just like he's already on stage, he's telling a joke, and then at one part ends the joke, and it's like bones and all, Anthony Jeselnik, and then just back, and then no outro at all.
Yeah, the outro thing, I never really thought that was super necessary to have them, so that part I'm okay with. I feel like it is a new trend. More and more specials are starting with the comedian already in the middle of a joke or starting a joke right after without like the ladies and gentlemen, welcome, blah, 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 blah. I think that's just a new trend in specials right now. And I think
like
people
it.
are playing around with it. I'm cool with it too. I kind
of like it. It's just right in it. Bam.
Yeah. Yeah. It's,
no fat.
and I don't care if they do it or don't, to be honest. Like either way is fine with me, but I think sometimes I do think a lot of people or a lot of new specials they're really doing that a lot.
They're jumping right to it. I do kind of like when they do have a little bit of an intro though. It kind of gives them like a little bit of an idea of like where they're at, where they're walking into, what's going on, like the setting and stuff, and people. Like I kind of do like that just for that reason.
Yeah, if it's a theater I've never seen or been to, and I want to see, like sometimes I want to see if it's cool looking and like all that kind of stuff. That's always fun.
And then also. There was a time where a lot of specials that would come out, the outro would just be like them taking pictures with fans. It'd be them with other comedians or whatever, which is always kind of fun too because you're like, oh, he's with that guy, blah, blah, blah.
Oh my God, Pete Davidson and Machine Gun Kelly are buddies.
Dude, how cool. I already knew that, but look at the picture.
That's a lost episode you'll never hear because we were way too mean to Pete Davidson. Or actually, we were just about the right amount of mean to Pete Davidson, and he should have made a better special. Is really what the deal is.
We did go
hard. If you watch Turbo
episode.
Fonzarelli and you think it's great, write us a letter, and I will apologize to you. Okay. But also, I'm going to ask you to check in to a mental hospital because that was one of the worst pieces of shit I've ever seen in my life.
Remember the camera angle that was just shooting right up his nose?
Yeah.
You remember that?
It's so funny that we're just talking shit about an old. No, everybody's like, "What? Pete Davidson? What?" Yeah. All right. I think we can both agree on one. I don't know that he needs quite as many fucking pedophile jokes.
There's a lot of them.
There's a ton of them, and I like a pedophile joke as much as the next guy.
You know the one I knew you weren't gonna like though.
I bet I like it more than you think. But whatever one you're talking about.
The priest altar boy one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that one actually at least had a decent turn. I didn't like it. I didn't really like it because I'm not a big priest altar boy guy. But
yeah, I know you hate that.
I
Which
thought
I
that
get.
the age of consent joke was actually really funny.
I like that one. Yeah.
Basically, there's a joke that he's doing where he talks about 18 being the age of consent, and that people should.
If you can drive,
if
at
you can
16,
drive, I should be able to fuck you.
Yeah.
Is the joke, and then he says he did it down in Alabama, and I said, well, the age of consent's 16 in Alabama, and so you need to change that, and he's like, you need to change that,
right? Which makes you think that like, oh,
right,
he knows that what the joke, blah blah blah.
right, exactly.
He's actually the good guy, but then he goes
And then he
somewhere
goes
else.
into Mississippi, and in Mississippi the age of consent's 14, and he goes, holy shit, that's perfect.
Yeah,
Which is a great joke. It's
that
a very
joke was
funny
pretty
joke.
awesome. Yeah,
I like that one a lot.
same.
But I mean, some of those. I mean, it's just how many pedophile jokes are you gonna like? You know what I mean? There's one where he's at the bar. His favorite adult film star is at the bar, and he tells the bartender, "Hey, that girl over there, she shouldn't be here. Like, she's only 13 or whatever." Like,
Yeah,
it's just you
Yeah.
kind of get it. Here's the thing: nothing wrong with anything he's doing, except I just feel like it empowers really shitty comics to do really shitty comedy. To be honest with you,
that's exactly what it's.
there's going to
be.
be 10 dudes that we're going to see tomorrow
Yeah.
at open mic who are going to tell 4 pedophile jokes each. They're all going to be terrible. They're not going to have the cadence down. They're not going to have the persona down. They're not going to be able to pull it off.
Right.
And then they're going to wonder why they bombed and get banned from the club. You know what I mean? It's like, stop fucking.
Or they'll do the opposite, and they will literally copy his
or they'll just copy his
joke
shit.
word for word.
Shout out.
Yeah. Shout out Zach. We had
Zach,
this,
baby.
yeah, this open
had a
mic that
couple
would
of
just do. He would just do Anthony Jeselnik jokes the exact same way.
Which is exactly what you should do.
Yeah.
Favorite joke? Do you have a favorite joke?
Yes, I do. I really like the premature the ejaculation one.
Oh, where he says, yeah.
Yeah, about his friend.
Yeah, his friend says he's got an issue with premature ejaculation. Ejaculation.
Yeah, that's right.
And Anthony Jeselnik tells him maybe you should start talking about baseball. And he's like, "Don't you mean thinking about baseball?" And he's like, "I don't give a shit what you think about. Just stop talking to me about your premature ejaculation."
Yeah, exactly. I did like that joke.
That is a funny one. I like the this one was on the second. Not the actual trailer, but the secondary trailer. It's the joke that pops up if you just have it on in the background. It's he's on a flight and this girl has a 100-pound dog, like service animal, emotional support animal in the seat, and she's like, he's like, do you really need that? She's like, not really. And he goes, I hate it when people take advantage of the system like that. So I talked to her about it, and I'm just here to tell you, I'm very happy that after 2.5 hours on that flight, she needed that fucking dog. Like, I just thought that's a great joke.
That is a great joke.
Yeah, dude. I mean, that's.
What did you not like about it?
I mean, it was too much pedophilia stuff. He's kind of a one-trick pony. I think we talked about this with Gaffigan last week. And Gaffigan certainly has a wider array of what he does.
Definitely.
I was fairly bored, probably 2/3 of the way through, where I was like, okay, I don't know that I need to watch. I think I get the point. You know what I mean? I get the gist.
Right.
I didn't. Oh, what else did you not like? You want to talk about the mic?
Oh yeah, he kept doing this thing where after he would tell a punchline, he would like move the mic over or kind of like drop
He would
it by
drop
his
it
hip.
to his side a little bit.
Which
He walks really slowly and deliberately. I think is weird, but I kind of like that part.
well, and that whole like kind of dropping of the mic like that is something that you learn not to do. Right? That's like kind of a beginner
Well,
thing is like people do that to indicate that like that's my punchline. Right?
yeah, but I think in his case it wasn't like an indication of that.
No, he's a veteran at the
And it's
it's not
also
the same
sort of-
same rules, but it is interesting.
It's also sort of like a "fuck you, I do what I want" thing, right? Like
yeah.
everything about his persona is like, I don't need to be here.
Well, and that
You
kind of
guys
shit,
are lucky I'm here.
and that kind of shit just falls right into his persona.
For sure.
You know that's just what he's
Yeah.
trying. He's just trying to sell that image.
For sure.
But it is just interesting because it's like a rule you don't do that.
Yeah, for sure.
The other thing I didn't like about it is, dude, like I know he made a joke.
Dude.
I know he made a joke about like how like, oh, you got to talk about trans stuff now because you're a comic or whatever. Like it's in the handbook, right? Mm-hmm. So he kind of says that to just get away with the trans.
With doing a trans joke.
Yeah, but also it's kind of like, okay.
I think
was
we
his
disagree
one
on that joke because I actually like that joke. I like the trans joke comparison, or comparing trans to pregnant women.
Which is his one comparison joke in the entire thing. I don't think he compared. Sure? I'm pretty sure. I can't think of anything where he makes
doesn't do
comparison.
as much of it as we've seen in the past, but and some of our other artists. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I thought it was funny. I liked it.
That was all right. I thought the gender reveal part with the bus hit. I thought
that was one of the weakest jokes in the whole thing. Like that.
Did you really?
It doesn't even.
I thought that was.
That
funny.
doesn't even actually make sense.
There's a lot of those that don't totally make sense if you want to break them down.
Yeah. Interesting. It was a pregnant woman getting hit by a bus. That's, or as I like to call it a gender reveal party. I don't. That doesn't really make sense. Like, how does it reveal? I don't even know how it reveals the gender.
Because she shoots the baby out when the bus hits her. Boom.
Does she shoot the baby out when the bus hits her?
Yeah, I think that's the idea.
But even then,
the idea is it hits her and then she gives birth, she has to shoot that baby out, and then it says
you find out
what gender it is. Yeah.
Do you really know what gender? I mean, how far along are we talking here? He needs to be a little bit more specific with his what trimester is she in? This is important.
I mean, that's a good point actually. Yeah, I like what you like. I like your point there.
Very good point.
Fucking, you should tell him that.
Yeah, I'm sure he wants to hear from me. That's my guess. My guess is he's real curious to hear from me about it.
Oh, it's not even a guess. I know he's real curious to hear from you. Okay, so that's what I did. That is one of the things I didn't like.
We talked about Amy Schumer, right? You know they dated, right? Did you know that?
No, I didn't know
yeah,
that.
back in the day.
See, he couldn't have had that much confidence
when they were both. I don't know. It was back when she was huge. You know what I mean? Like
she's huge now.
No, I don't mean that kind of huge. I mean she was huge. I knew you were gonna say that, you turd. But yeah, when she was big time, like right before she even made her movie, which is interesting, right? Like if he just waited a couple of years, he could have been dating Taylor Tomlinson instead. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
What a step up that is, dude.
Right. Well,
but
it's probably before he was tucking in his shirt.
Maybe, I guess.
I just wanted to talk
about it.
He
definitely, he shirt tucker.
Let's see.
Yeah, I don't really have much else to talk about here. I don't think.
Yeah, I think.
What else do you want to go over? Anything?
Not necessarily. We went over favorite jokes. Went over what we liked, what we didn't like.
Sure. Yeah, what I don't like is what's going to happen now that people see this.
Oh yeah,
it's going to be so good. It seemed like he was getting a fair amount of pushback from that crowd too. There were a couple times where I felt like he was getting some boos, and he probably loved it. Like like comics like that.
Yeah,
love getting booed.
Yeah. Well, and he also probably knows where those were coming from.
Sure,
like when those are coming. Yeah. Another thing I didn't like about it is I felt like a lot of the premises are just not that original, right?
Give me an example. What do you mean?
For instance, like, I hate kids. You know how many people I've heard do I hate kids material?
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's such a basic ass premise. You know what I mean? Say you love kids and then do your pedophile stuff.
I'm
just playing. But I just think it's not clever to me, really. Just
yeah, I mean, the premise definitely isn't. The premise isn't, but I don't know. I feel like he does enough different shit.
And none of those premises were like that clever.
Yeah, okay.
The jokes were clever, but the premises weren't. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I mean, the premise doesn't need to be clever. The joke does, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Although, I would prefer clever on. I prefer both to be better. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, because Adrienne Appalucci, her premises were clever, and then also her jokes were clever.
Get out of her vagina for like 2 minutes? Jesus.
All right, dude. This is better.
All right. No, that makes sense, though. All right, let's talk about some Yeah, let's just move right along. Follower count, man. Ready? Oh, shit. Before we do that,
Okay.
Philip Kopsinski was around earlier today. Was talking to me, and while he was here, my mother dropped by her fucking drop by the food tonight. So it's time for the segment Mom's Menu.
The meatloaf! We want it now! The meatloaf! Ma, the meatloaf! Fuck!
That's right. It is Mom's Menu, brought to you by my mother.
Mama
She
Dan.
didn't even know Phil Kopsinski stopped by. We had 3 people in the room. She brought 3 helpings down. She got a grilled cheese sandwich. She got a Gouda and a white cheddar grilled cheese, I think is what it was.
Yeah. Sandwiches
And
were
then
good.
corn chowder. What do you think of the corn chowder?
Good. What's in corn chowder?
Corn. Cream. It's a cream-based corn soup with potatoes
Oh, okay.
and corn.
Those are potatoes.
I'm guessing, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know for sure. I don't know. I didn't eat a ton of it. I was too busy focusing on the grilled cheese sandwiches.
The
But
grilled
holy
cheese
shit,
was
dude!
great. Yeah.
So much creamy stuff. I'm gonna be crapping for
Creamed
weeks.
up.
So I will get a menu item out to you guys with a picture. But that was Mom fixing us some grubblies.
In case you don't know what a grilled cheese
Hey, you know what?
includes.
Why don't you fuck off? You get a free meal and you start talking shit. Eat
No,
a
I'm
dick.
telling everybody that if they don't know what a grilled cheese is, like they're gonna learn.
It's a good try, but I still think you embarrassed your family.
I brought much shame.
All right, so that was meatloaf. That was Mom the meatloaf. The segment. Next up, we got to talk about our follower count, Instagram follower count. You'll remember last week, Colton Drake was at 398, and I was at 361. Did you go up or down?
I went up
Nice, dude. How many did you go up?
4. I got 400.
Oh, you got two totals. You went for 400.
I thought it was
400 even?
391. I was.
No, you were 390, and you got 8 last week, dude. You got a huge week last week.
Oh yeah, cool. Yeah, I got.
So you're at 400?
I'm at 400.
I'm still at 361, so I haven't moved in the last couple weeks. So you beat me this week again. Damn it. Crushing me. So Colton with 400. I have 361, man.
I think you
stretching
juiced
it
me
out.
up that one time when you were
Stretching
like,
it out. when I was
unfollow
talking
him and
shit,
follow
dude.
me.
Yeah. All right. So we were scaling up there. You were almost to 1,000.
I'm getting
So close,
so
dude.
close,
Getting
dude.
so close.
Oh my god, it's only 600.
So that's
away.
the Instagram follower count brought to you by White Claw. Not really. They're not a sponsor. They just give us some beer. They don't give us anything. We fucking buy their shit.
Yep.
Okay.
But it gives us confidence.
Gives us confidence. All right. So that is our follower count. Upcoming. Oh wait, we have to do better then. Mm-hmm. Forgot that. All right. So
Yeah.
if you're familiar with this show, you know the whole point of the show is that we get to shit on other comics from the privacy of my mom's basement. So Anthony Jeselnik has 5 Netflix specials. He had a TV development deal. He has other stand-up specials. He's made enough money he can tuck his shirt in. Like the dude's loaded. Okay. Very successful stand-up comic. Who better than us to talk about how much better we are than Mr. Anthony Jeselnik? Would you like the honors? Would you like me to go first?
Oh, let's see. I guess I'll go first.
Okay.
right.
Minute on the clock. And no.
Okay, Anthony.
When you're ready. Are you ready?
Yeah, you
right.
hitting a drop or something for
I
me?
don't know. You want me to?
All right, Anthony Jeselnik. I'll tell you what I hated and how I'm better. I hated how you're wearing cowboy boots with them tucked into your jeans. Dumb. You're tucking in your shirt. Dumb. You just kind of like you want to play so smart, but you're dressing like a fucking idiot, and I hate it. Also, how about you come up with an original premise? Okay, just boilerplate hack shit. Anybody could come up with that. Like, yeah, clever joke after we figure out your one trick that you do over and over and over again, to where my wife was like, this is funny. And then halfway through, she's like, oh, I guessed that. It's like, yeah, good job. I love the special. Good for you did good. Adrian Appalucci's way better than you, though, as far as this kind of humor goes. And that's it.
And there you have it. That's why Colton Drake is better than Mr. Anthony Jeselnik.
Oh, also, I'm not going to drop the mic to my hip after every punchline. I hated that. It was distracting. It was really distracting, and it did not look good. Along with the tucked-in shirt. Newsflash. Boom.
That was Colton Drake letting you know why tucked-in shirts are the bane of my existence or his existence or somebody's existence, and why he's a better comic than Anthony Jeselnik. All right.
Oh, let's hear from what the illustrious Jay Berg has to say.
All right, Tony. Here's the deal. It was not good, dude. Can you stop telling me how you're fucking 15-year-olds for like 3 minutes in the special? That'd be great. I mean, I get it. We've all had one or two, okay? But you just keep working your way down the ladder. First it's 15, then it's 14. You're talking about fucking 13-year-olds halfway through your goddamn set. If you're not behind bars in the next 3 years, I have no idea what the hell is going on. I get it. You want to bang kids and talk about your cousin having like masturbating. It's very weird, man. How are you this weird? And it's not okay. You can't just talk about this shit all the time. Not without pictures. So make sure that you make it happen. That's why I'm better than you, Anthony Jeselnik, because I just am. Because I only bang girls who are on their way to stardom, not coming down from it. Okay. I don't know what I'm talking about.
And he's got photographs.
I got photographs of all the hot eights that I banged. Eights in both hotness and in age.
There it is.
Yeah. Hey, guess what? Every open micer on earth has a premise about fucking a 14-year-old. Why does your Wikipedia page look like a mugshot, dude? Look at this shit. That is a mugshot looking Wikipedia page entry. Anthony Jeselnik, you are a funny comedian, but you are a one-trick pony. And we are done with you tonight. So that's why we're better than Anthony Jeselnik. That segment was brought to you by We're Better Than You Cologne. I don't even know if that's a real thing. More than likely not.
Definitely.
All right. So, we basically finished yesterday. What do you got going on this week? Or
All
these
right.
next couple weeks?
Ooh, okay. Let's see. Aside from plumbing.
Plumbing it up.
Yep.
Are you doing it this week in plumbing?
No.
Okay.
All right. So let's see. December 5th, I'm going to be in Yakima at Outskirts Brewing at 7 p.m. with Harry J. Riley headlining and
That's
Chris
Thursday
Jessup.
night?
Yep, Thursday night. And then on 12/6, which is that Friday night, I'm in Whistling Jack's in Natchez, Washington, which I believe is really close to Yakima.
Yep.
7 p.m. And then 12/7, I'm in Ephrata featuring for Phil Kopp. And 12/20, I'm at the Roxy Theater with Phil Kopp as well. And that is, what was it?
Boring
Yeah, that's
as
I think
fuck,
that's in
what that
Newport.
is.
It's in Newport.
Yeah, it's in Newport.
Yeah. I don't.
Newport, Washington.
Yep. Okay, that's what I got.
That's what you got, baby?
Yeah.
Yeah, check those out. Check Colton Drake, or at Colton Drake Comedy for more details on that on his Instagram. If you want to catch me, I got a couple things coming up, but not this week. The following week, 12/13/24, the Joke Thief Show. That is, we are going to be stealing material from famous stand-ups, and we're going to have the audience going to be trying to guess what we're doing. They're going to try to win free stuff for that. That's out in Draft Zone at the Draft Zone in Post Falls, Idaho. The following night, 12/14 Saturday, I'll be in Kalispell, Montana, with the illustrious Harry J. Riley. So if you're out in the Montana area, give us a ring. Get over there at, I think, some brewery of some sort.
I'm also
You'll
on
find
that
it.
Draft Zone 12/13 show.
He will. Yep,
Joke Thief.
That is correct.
Post Falls.
That is correct. He is on that, and I think that's pretty much all we got. Speaking of, anything else you need to talk about before we get the hell out of here? Before we talk about next week?
Let me think. No.
Let me think. No, we got nothing, man. We made it a full hour.
I'm kind of shocked.
I'm a little bit shocked too. I didn't think we'd have enough. Maybe we just talked too long. Probably.
Probably.
But speaking of Joke Thief, we our next special we're going to be reviewing is the infamous Dane Cook.
Dane Cook.
Infamous Dane Cook, who has been accused of stealing material and all that. We'll talk about that a little bit next week. I don't know if it's true. I don't know if it isn't, to be honest with you, but we'll take a look at it. He has a new special on Prime Video, on YouTube. It is called Above It All. It is filmed at his house. in Los Angeles. Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah, filmed outside of his house in Los Angeles. That is Dane Cook. And so...
Interesting.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
Would
yeah.
like no
And I
theater
don't know.
have him or what the fuck?
I don't know. I think he just wanted to show off his killer house. His house looks fucking nice, dude.
Really? Well, because
yeah.
he just went through a whole thing too with his brother stealing a bunch of his money and
I don't
shit.
know anything about that.
Oh yeah.
Oh, we'll talk about it
Yeah,
next
we'll
week.
talk. We can talk about all that next week.
Absolutely.
But in the meantime, also watch that Anthony Jeselnik special if you
watch
haven't.
Anthony Jeselnik.
It's
sure.
good. Of course, we give you shit on it because this is
That's
stand
what
up
we gotta
snobs.
do, man.
Yeah,
Stand up
so we're doing.
snobs, baby.
But it's great.
Give it a shot. Yep,
And,
give it a shot.
yeah,
Watch
try
Dane
that.
Cook. We'll talk about it next week. Anything else to say before we take off?
How many more Pennsylvania followers have we had? Do we know?
No, I don't think
Thousands,
we have
probably.
much more.
In the
Welcome United Arab Emirates to the listenership. We got a couple of those. We got a Hawaii. We got a
Cool.
like a Missouri, I think, or some shit.
Right on.
Whatever. We do appreciate. We actually are tracking up a little bit in our listenership. We do appreciate you coming out or not coming out, showing out, watching, listening. If you'd like to listen, please do so. Tell your friends. Like, rate, review, subscribe. Reach out to us via email on
please do.
standupsnobs@gmail.com if you have any questions or you have any comments or anything, just to let us get better. And then if you want to follow Colton Drake, that's Colton Drake Comedy at Instagram.
Yep.
If you want to follow Jayberg Comedy, that's Jayberg Comedy on Instagram. And other than that, we're good to go. You got anything else, buddy?
Nope, I'm good.
All right.
a
So
pleasure.
taking us out is going to be Dane Cook. Again, this is Dane Cook's new album. This is the trailer for his new album. It's on YouTube. It is called Above It All. Once again, here is Dane Cook leading us out. Thank you for listening to Stand Up Snobs.
This is my actual house. I know some of you guys are like, that's it. I've been dealing with a stalker. She was staring up at my house like she wanted to fight my house. You're gonna die now! I planned a murder, and how to get away with that murder absolutely in my favor. I'm so happy in my relationship that I bet the internet's happy for me. I should check. I'm 49, my girlfriend's 23. She was doing her homework, and I said, where have you been all my life? And then I remembered she wasn't alive for the first 26 years of it. I did my best. This isn't me, this isn't us. You've been saying you're gonna lose 15 pounds for 8 years, and now you're gonna vow to keep their dreams afloat? I got a neighbor like right over here, and man, she's a I'm kidding! I'll bring you a meringue! Good luck, Chuck did very well, that's all I'm gonna say. Rotten Tomatoes, they bought me a house.